Boxing truth here. Tony Bellew just made easy work with BJ Flores. A cherry picked voluntary defense. Somehow, some way, Eddie Hearn used his influence, was able to get the WBC to grant a voluntary defense despite Bellew having mandatory obligations for winning a vacant strap in his last fight against Makabu. But they didn't want that work with the mandatory challenger. Guy's a little too dangerous. The revelation Eddie Hearn was actually able to convince the WBC and the mandatory challengers team, Maris Britis, able to convince them to fight on the undercard instead, with probably a promise to get a shot later on or next after Britis scored a win on the undercard, 3-round knockout, I believe. But he ain't getting that Bellew fight. But as for Bellew, he looked pretty strong. Seems to have a lot of punching power in the cruiserweight division. Became the first to stop BJ Flores for the first time in his career. Flores had a decent first round, and then it pretty much went downhill as soon as he got hit with a low blow. But he made a mistake by looking at the referee. You're on the road, brother. You on the road, and there's an English referee as well. Huh? So no need to be looking at the ref when you need to be protecting yourself at all times. It costs you. You end up getting dropped. And that pretty much was the beginning of the end. As Bellew kept unleashing power punches. Wasn't really great defensively, but didn't matter. Flores is not really that big of a puncher. Wasn't a worthy contender or challenger for the WBC belt. He's done nothing in his career. He's more known as a commentator. He's really a better commentator than he is a fighter. So it looks like after this performance, after not showing much punch resistance, BJ Flores is just gonna go back to commentating for good. Pretty much put an end to his career. Hang up them gloves. Just not that good of a prize fighter. Wasn't even a worthy challenger for Bellew's belt today. But Bellew, he got his cherry pick out the way, voluntary defense out of the way, made easy work, had an easy night, scored 4 knockdowns in the fight, didn't get much resistance, and now he's looking to cash out, him and Eddie Hearn, for the next fight against David Haye, which makes sense. Bellew and Eddie Hearn have no intentions of making a mandatory defense against their mandatory challenger. Just too dangerous of a fight. Guy punches too hard and he doesn't bring nothing to the table economically. So it's only natural that Bellew and Eddie Hearn will look for the biggest payday possible. And that payday is at heavyweight against David Haye in a domestic level fight, which will do business. It will do numbers. And it's a fight that I'd be interested in. Bellew's punching very hard. He's got a lot of confidence, momentum going into the fight. David Haye, he's fought disgraceful opponents in his comeback. He's definitely conning the British public, but this will be his first real fight in quite some time. Even though he's fighting a guy much naturally smaller, a guy who started his career at light heavyweight, but he's since has bounced back from the losses, has been able to reignite his career after winning a title at cruiserweight, also getting some recognition from the Rocky movie. So, more press, more exposure, and now becoming a world champion. And right now, Bellew's looking to get that big payday. Could be seen as a cash out since he's going to be fighting at heavyweight against a big puncher in David Haye. But I'm down for the fight. It's not like David Haye's fought any world beaters in quite some time, so Bellew's the smaller guy, but I give him a shot. He's fought better opposition at cruiserweight lately. His last fight, BJ Flores ain't shit. It was what it was. Just an easy first title defense, a tune-up. before getting that big fight against David Haye, and it looks like it could happen. I mean, if David wants a payday, it's definitely available. It's definitely a fight that's an option. Or he could fight at heavyweight and get into position for one of the organization's belts at that weight, at heavyweight. But in the meantime, while he's waiting for what's going to happen in the heavyweight division, he might as well collect a big payday against Tony Bellew, and what will be a grudge match and a fight that would bring in viewership, bring in some money, and it's a fight that I would tune in as well. It'll be a fun fight for however long it lasts. Don't really have a favorite. I mean, I lean towards Hay, but it's only because he's naturally bigger. But who knows what he has left after not being in a real fight in years. But easy work for Tony Bellew. First title defense. Looks like his reign at cruiserweight is going to be short-lived. And let's see if that fight with David Haye can materialize. What's going to be the biggest fight out there for Bellew next? If he can get Haye to agree to fight him. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.